today in this video we are going to see something about the homeschooling journey or about homeschooling. So if you know me through my Instagram, I share the homeschooling journey of myself and with my 2-year-old, and there was a lot of DMs and comments in the asking like, what is homeschooling? This is something that I'm hearing for the very first time. And how can I also do this? How can I start early education with my child? These kind of questions used to pop up every time. So I thought of coming live and answer all of you in a detailed video. So that's why I'm here. So if you're new here, check out my Instagram page, Nalli Sidhu, and also my homeschooling page, Baby and Homeschooling, so that you get more idea about it. So yeah, so first of all, what is this homeschooling like? This is the first time you hear this kind of homeschooling, especially for 2-year-old. What do you do in homeschool? So this is a common question that is being asked by many parents. So instead of saying as homeschooling, we can call it as early education because in the because education starts right from home. It is not when the child goes to school, but education starts right at home. The moment the child is born, the child is going to learn everything from their environment. They are going to observe everything that is happening in their environment, and they learn everything from their environment. So that is how it is all happening from the language, from the body language, from whatever things that are around them, how the light is switching on, how the fan is switching on, how mom is cooking, how the dog is barking, everything the child is learning from their environment, and from the day they are born, they are very curious to learn. So in and also developmentally they are growing. Their fine motor skills, their gross motor skills are also developing as they grow up. Like for infants, they start crawling, they start able to hold something in their hand, they will be able to balance something in the hand, and they will try to understand cause and effect. And so many things happen. So if you are in Instagram, you can check out the hashtag Kate and Vishragu to find out all the activities that we did when she was infant and during her 1 year period of time. So for me, after she turned 1 year, the first thing that I set up was an open shelf. It no need to be very fancy and all. You don't need to buy a Montessori shelf for this case. You can just use any open shelf which is accessible, which is low in size for the child to go and take the toys whichever they want. Okay, so from 1 year, since the child starts moving a lot, so I thought of keeping a open shelf for all her books will be some of her books will be placed in a basket, and I used to keep books, 4, 5 books together in all the rooms, every part, because wherever she goes, she will like to read. So if she is in bedroom, I'll keep some 4 to 5 books over there, and if she goes to hall, there will be some 4 to 5 books for her in her for her to access, and also there will be some toys, the developmentally appropriate toys or the materials which I make, the DIYs or any small things that I make, I just keep it in an open shelf so the child can easily go and have an access to it, so they can independently take it, play with it, and then they will go and return, keep it back in place. So this is what we had been doing from 1 year to 2 years. And then after she turned two, she wanted to have a structural learning. So how did I notice that is, I was not no way thinking about any of this kind of structured learning or whatever I'm going to do. I was not actually planning for, but I could see that my child was actually keen in having a routine, having a structured learning. So I thought of complementing that. So that is how it started. Since we also moved to a new house, I set up our space as such. It is very accessible for her. The book area, the play area, everything is in our living room only. We don't have a separate room for our play area and all. It is just in the living room. So we have a toy table for her, which is a open shelf, and where I will keep all her materials. So from her 2 years to 2.5 years, what we do in our homeschooling is like I was actually figuring out what to do, what structured plan can I start with her. So I know that 2.5 years is when the child, want to be more active. They will be more curious to learn so many things. They will start asking all the why questions. Their logical brain is so rapidly developing too. So I really, learning myself on how I can complement it. So that was happening in the past 6 months. While I also did some routine. So just the routine will also very helpful where during the after they turn two, because there are a lot of tantrums, meltdowns happen. So with routine, the child can actually, thrive. So I was forming a routine. In that routine, we have flashcards, we have memory exercises, and most of the times we will have a lot of movement activities. So whatever movement activities we have, in that I will incorporate some learning part, like numbers. So Shraddha's fond of numbers. We do right brain math, and I really wanted to extend that in the movement math. So what do I mean by movement math is I just take a paper, I just put one, two, three, four, five, and then I lay it on the floor, one here, two there, three there, four there, like that. Then I will also jump with her. I will call out a number and we both jump to that number. So if I call out four, I used to jump towards four and she will also jump and go there. And then three, two, everything we call out and I do it with her for the first time. And then obviously whatever movement related play we give for our children, they love it because they need that movement. They are developmentally need that movement. So whatever we do with movement. Whatever we do with movement, I have seen that she remembers that so well. Because we do this first thing in the morning, and then we may be doing something in the chair table setup or floor setup where she sits and do something. But the moment her dad comes in the evening, when he asks like, "What did you do in the homeschool?" Immediately she will say which whatever we did with the moment. Then I found out, okay, so this is actually helping her to remember. She remembers it because she enjoyed it. So I used to do that more. And then we play this lemon spoon game. That was all so fun. So just on the spoon, I just keep the lemon on the spoon and I ask her to walk. So these are all actually the focus building activities which are very, very important for a toddler. So when it comes to homeschooling a toddler, it is not always unit studies or worksheets or giving them lot of things to memorize, or need to initially need to start with all the big explanations. If you have seen me recently, we made a human body project. It is not that we started with a human body project. We work through a lot of focus activities, attention activities, because a lot of parents may be having this complaint that my child is not sitting at one place. Then you may have to try these kind of activities first. Okay, the focus building activities, like how I told you, like just the lemon and spoon, and then you can do some movement activities, like hands up, hands down, sit down, stand up, turn around, sit on the chair, sit on the floor, run, stand, like that. Movements we have to. So these are all the when we do first thing in the morning, it will actually help all your parts of your brain and your body to be very active, and then whatever we are presenting to the child can actually focus. And another thing I really wanted to tell you is, some people may be thinking that homeschooling a toddler will be the full day kind of thing, like the whole day you will be teaching the child, etc. It is not like that. Especially even for older children, okay, even for older children who are being homeschooled, if you are going to school and spending 8 hours in school, the same children, when they are completely homeschooled, they do only 5 hours or 4 hours of work, and that will be like laser focused work. So that is what they do. They don't spend 8 hours, 10 hours in homeschooling, okay? Because you have a one-to-one kind of setup and very minimal children. Even if there are 3 children or 5 children, this is just going to be one person who's attending all the children, and that will be laser focused and it will be very personalized, right? So school is something like you have so many children over there and one teacher or two teachers who can concentrate, and it's not so personalized. But when you are doing a homeschooling, you can actually, you can focus much on your one child and you can give so whatever a child learns for 8 hours in a school, they just need just 1 hour or 2 hours of time in home. Okay, so that is the kind of thing. And for a toddler specifically, we cannot expect a toddler to sit for hours, even for longer minutes. We cannot expect a toddler to sit for a longer minutes to learn something. And the next one is toddlers do learn only if it's very fun, it's very playful, if it is very happier for them to do. So we have to create such an environment and such an mindset of having fun. Okay, so it is not just about academically doing something, but doing something because children love playing. That is why we do learning through play and play-based learning and all of that. So when you are doing a learning through play, then you will be installing some of the educational things into the play itself. For example, just like how I said, the movement mat, or you have a rice bin or some sensory bin where you hide some side words written in sticky notes and you have just hidden them. And the child, when they are in the sensory bin, when they are exploring, they will find out each of the side word and you call out the name of that. So that is one kind of learning through play. So children will love it. So they will want more of it. If you just sit with a book and if it is just like bookishly, if you want to teach a child, it may not work for 90% of the child. Maybe one or two child will like to see the paper, what is written on the paper, what is written on the note. But even if that is the case, it will be just for that particular activity. Around that activity, there will be a lot of play that happens. Only with play, the child will be able to focus better, and toddlers need just a glance of the work to notice in their brain. Okay, they doesn't need to sit and completely watch everything that you say. They don't need to sit and watch like how you are watching me talking. They doesn't want that. Even if they are moving, even if we feel like they are not even listening, they are actually grasping it. There are so many, even though I know all this, when we were doing homeschooling, I was like, when I was introducing a concept to her, okay, so when I was introducing a concept to her, she was first sitting and then she just moved. And then I was like, why did she sit and even looked at it? But I did not stop. I just kept saying there was nobody around. She was just moving. She was just playing only. But still, I was just explaining what I wanted to explain. It was like she never cared. She was just going around and doing something. And then I just took it off and kept it over there. And the evening when her father came, she went with that model and she went to him and she was explaining everything as the child explained her. It was so she was actually mimicking me. She was imitating however I explained. I was literally shocked to see that because she was not even in that place. She was just going, laying her, but the tone, the way she talked and explained to her dad, I was literally shocked. And since then, after I saw that, I never expect her to sit and listen to what I'm saying. And whatever I say, I just say, just in her presence in the room itself is enough. So that is how toddlers learn. So toddlers don't need to sit and learn for hours and hours to know something. They can easily grasp things just to the glance of things. Okay. And of course, you cannot expect a toddler to sit and learn for hours. And being very playful and happy is very important. And with respect to what you are giving to the child, it should be developmentally appropriate and should match their current interest and schema. You can see that if the child is throwing something, it means that the child might be in a trajectory schema. So whatever activities that you set up, or if you want to do any structural learning for your child, you can use that schema and do that. For example, when I noticed that my child is in trajectory schema, what I did was the numbers. We were doing numbers 1 to 10 at that time. So what I did is I just kept a basket in some distance, and I was giving her each ball written on that with a number. In ball, I had written 6, 5 like that. Then I was giving her two balls and choices like choose 5 and put it in the basket. Then she chose 5 and she will throw it in the basket. So this is also like learning through play. So if I want my child who is willing to throw a lot, if I ask her to sit and do this is 5, this is 6, if I am telling like that, there are high chances that she will not even sit. She will not even come to that area. So when I observe the child, okay, so only when you observe your child, you can actually know what schema they are going through or what is actually interest them. All these things only you will know only when you start observing your child. So once you start observing your child, you can actually uh, supplement both the learning and the play together. Okay. And then So this is what you may have to expect from your child. You cannot expect something that is unrealistic. Okay, and the next thing I really wanted to tell you is people think that the child has learned only if they tells it back. So if I teach you something and I'm asking you the what is this, if the child is not saying, we assume that the child is not learned it. Okay, and we want the child to say it. Only then we think, we assume that only then the child has learned. So what we do, we will keep asking them, what is this, what is this, tell, what is this. If we keep doing this, what we are actually doing is we are they will definitely lose interest, because the nature of the child is different. Okay, every child is different. Some children would love to tell you everything. Whatever they learn, they will love to tell you, love to show off, they love to repeat back. Even if you ask, even if you don't ask, they will keep telling everything that they learn. But there are some children who doesn't do that, who doesn't want to say. For example, if my child, whenever I'm showing her some new concept, okay, I tell you a better example. Okay, so we are attending the shloka class now, right? So she knows the Mushika Vahana from the beginning itself. Before she joined the Shloka class itself, she knows Mushika Vahana and she resides completely. You would have seen that in my Instagram. So she completely resides that. So when we joined the Shloka class, the first class was with Mushika Vahana, and when the teacher was asking, she didn't say. And then after the class ends, she used to tell at home and all. See, she used to sing in the puja room and everything. But she never sings it aloud in the class. And the next day, next week, it was Guru Brahma. Guru Brahma also she already knows. Like I have already, recited multiple times to her. And at house in puja times and all, she used to stay. But in the class, if the teacher asks, she will say. And I used to say, you should say no, only then the teacher will know that you know the shloka. So maybe you should try, you should tell something. Oh, you know it, you already do this in puja room and all. You should actually tell in the class also, right? That is why you're learning something, you need to display it. That is what I was telling her. And then the third week, there was a new shloka which we had never heard of. It was very new for me and for her also. It was very new. And on the third class, when the teacher was saying, and she was actually reciting it two times, to complete two times, she was reciting it with focusedly. She was trying to pronounce each of the word, and she recited it. And then I got to know. Then I asked her, the first week, Mushika Vahana, you didn't say. The second week, Guru Brahma, you didn't say. Then how come you said this one alone? I asked her. Then she told me, Amma, Mushika Vahana, I already know. Guru Brahma, I already know. This is something new, so I will tell you. Then it just struck me, oh, okay, okay. So since you know them, you didn't say. Then, yeah, of course, I know them. Why should I say? This was my 2-year-old talking, okay? So this is how, so some children may not like to recite, and some children like my child. If you know, I know, then why should I display it to others? I know. Why should I display to others? So obviously, okay, no. So this is recently I learned this lesson last Wednesday. Okay, so every child's nature is different. So don't expect that the child has to recite and only then the child has learned. Okay, you just focus only on inputting the knowledge. Another example, what I would say is recently, 2 days back, we did a human body project model. Okay, so in that, I was just telling her this is brain, this is eyes, this is lungs, this is kidneys, and all of that. Especially intestines, bladder, everything. And when I come to the lower body, I always saw that she just moves away. And today, when we were playing with the Play-Doh, I mean, she was not playing; it was there. She saw the shape of that, and she came and told me, "Amma, see, this looks like kidney." I was really shocked because if least explanation I would have given to her with the model was kidney. I had talked more about stomach, I had talked more about intestines, bladder, even heart, lungs, brain, all these things I have talked so much. But kidney is something that I've never just I have just told this is kidney stuff, so I have never told anything apart from that. But today I saw her looking, taking the Play-Doh and telling me that Amasi, this looks like Indian. So again, it's just that moment where I realized that I should focus only on the input. So that is what I would say. So don't expect your child to recite or tell everything back when you are asking, because the child is actually observing everything in their subconscious mind and they will use it whenever they are ready and whenever they need it. And the next question people might be having, what are all the materials I should need to start homeschooling? The first thing is you, the presence of mind and observing it, because only with the presence of mind you can observe what your child is doing, because 2.5-year-old that you see in social media, and if you also have a 2.5-year-old, doesn't mean that they will also do the same activity the same way. It is definitely not like that. So every child developmentally they are different. They play every game differently. So allowing them to explore it, allowing them to do in their own way is the first step. Okay. And with respect to materials, you don't need to invest so much in all the materials or the fancy materials that you see. Okay, so there are a lot of things that are available for free if you in case of printables specifically. So a lot of printables available for free. There are a lot of websites available for free. If you had seen my baby led homeschooling, there is a separate highlight which I have posted with all the product links. I will also give them in the description after the live ends. I will also give in this YouTube description some 2 to 3 websites where I always go to. One is 123 homeschool for me. That is like an encyclopedia for homeschool. Whatever topic you choose, there will be a lot of ideas, lot of printables available in that particular website. And there is another website which is called as 7 Days of Play. They have both paid and free worksheets, and there are so many free worksheets available. It's not like worksheets, but you can use them for activities. Okay, so 7 Days of Play is my favorite website because that is neatly organized, which you can just go and download. For 1 to 3 homeschool hobby, little bit you have to, because that is a free website completely. Most of the materials are free, so they run a lot of ads on their website. So we have to look out for the link. Okay, but it is a very nice website for everybody. And there is another website, Abby the Pup, which is having so many printables, so many worksheets actually. If your child is more interested in worksheets, there are so many different topics available, and huge repository of free worksheets are available in that website. So please go and check it out. So you don't need to buy any of the worksheets from anybody else, or you don't need to prepare your own. You just have everything over there. So if you are looking for such things, you can go and of course find them. And of course, materials in the sense, if you are looking for setting up an activity for your child, you can look for inspirations from Pinterest. I wouldn't. I wouldn't recommend much of Instagram, because sometimes Instagram, the search part is not easier in Instagram. We cannot search anything in Instagram. So if I look out for activities, there are some pages which I refer to. One of the pages, Montessori Dad's Way. I love this page because the activities are very simple that can be done with all the household things that we have. And there are some pages which I look up to, but I don't follow much of Instagram, because Instagram kills my time mostly. Whenever I go to Instagram, I spend a lot of time scrolling, or I respond to my business image messages and all of that. So I always stick to the Pinterest. So in Pinterest, we can just mention, so because also we will be having something in our mind. No, Instagram you cannot search for something. So whatever is coming there, we will see it, and we will try to do the same, but we won't have those materials at our place. So in Pinterest, what I do is whatever theme I have, or whatever idea that I have, I just put it over there for inspirations. But sometimes, most of the times, what I do is I just see some inspirations, and if I feel like getting overwhelmed, I just close it, and I start looking for objects at home, whatever is available at home. Because when you keep seeing, you will also be fully into it, and the implementation part will be very less. So what I would do is I just go and see what is laying around my kitchen, or what is laying around my house, so that I can grab them and give them as an activity. But of course, Pinterest helps me a lot in setting up the activity in the just give me some inspiration on that. So if I just see some of the activities, it actually kindles my creativity brain, and whatever I see, I just reuse it. So I do that. We don't have screen time at home, so I don't show any videos of anything to her. But we use Alexa for audio. I used to play songs. Recently, I started playing some rhymes also in Alexa because she likes to hear them. So and also we need to build that rhyming awareness of the language. They need to know more of the language, right? So I'm just playing some rhymes in Alexa. But apart from that, we don't see any videos as such. So I would say that having less screen time or non-stimulating shows, if you allow screen time also, you can choose shows which are non-stimulating and which are not too fast-paced. So that will not affect the child's daily routine. So when your child is looking at the fast-paced visuals most of the times, then you cannot expect a child to sit still for even some seconds. So avoiding that kind of shows will definitely help in attention. So for a toddler specifically, I'll tell you like how our homeschool routine happens so that you can get an idea. So once we go to homeschool, we will start right after breakfast, and after breakfast, I just clean up the kitchen, and we go there to homeschool. And we start with some concentration building activity like jumping, hands up, hands down, sit down, stand up, turn over. Like that, I used to give her some instructions. Lift your left leg up, left hand up, right hand up, right leg up, like this. I used to tell her, and she used to do it. And then we come to some activities, and then we will do some jumping jacks, we will do some stretching, and then I will ask her to breathe in, breathe out. That's a breathing exercise that we do. And then sometimes we do this lemon spoon. Or sometimes I'll just keep some paper cup on her head and I will ask her to walk in a straight line. So these are all some of the fun games as well as it's like focus attention building activities that you can do. And then I will sit with her for some language maybe. Recently we started with sandpaper letters. So I present her the sandpaper letter and I ask her to trace the letter. Along with that, I used to tell the sounds. And then after that will last for only 2 minutes maximum, 2 minutes, not more than that. Then we will keep it away and then we will do some coloring activity, or if she's interested to do something else, we will do math. For math, we were using number rods last week, and she's least interested in number rods, and we used to do some number rods over there. She doesn't show much interest, so I just do it. And sometimes I give her popsicle sticks, and I ask her to keep the popsicle sticks on the number rods as per its number, and she is doing that. I don't know why she doesn't show much interest on number rods, so I just kept it there. And then I we do some what we do and then some free play. This number of whatever numbers, number talks, everything will just go for another 2 minutes or so. And then we will read a book, and then we will do some other activity which is in the shelf. Most of the shelf activities will be very very simple for her to do, like according to her current interest. So the current interest, like using the clips. So I have a small clip, so small clips you just take it and put it inside a cup, and then there's a feather that she have to insert. So these kind of fine motor skills, the refinement of the fine motor skills. So some one two activity like that. And then by this time itself, and it is not continuous, even though I tell it just lasts for 1 minute, 2 minutes, it doesn't mean that it is what is the complete duration itself is fine. It's not like that. Because once the 1 minute activity is done, she used to run, go here, run, come here. I will also go somewhere, come here, drink water. It will be like that. And then we will come again to this, and then we will do something else, and then we will go. At least for 15 to 20 minutes, we used to spend all together in the homeschool. There are times when she used to spend even 1 hour in our homeschool, especially when we have some sensory activities. So sometimes I do this. Like this is not every day. I don't do this enjoy even every day, but at least once in a week I try to do. I just put whatever is available, like rice or pasta. I just have some red beans, pasta, and some rice for packed separately for the play alone. I used to reuse the same thing again and again and again. So I used sometimes I use beans. I give her some spoons to put it inside, or sometimes she used to count with that. So whatever that 1 minute, 2 minute activity that we do with with together we used to do with full attention, no, so that we will extend to play using this bean activity or trading with the rice, etc. It just goes a free flow. It's just like a free flow activity, and then we go for lunch. After lunch, we will sit again for homeschooling because I've seen that recently she doesn't want to nap immediately after lunch. Previously she used to do that. So recently, what I'm also seeing that she focused more when she is after lunch. Post lunch, she focused more. So after lunch, we will do our writing education session. We will do flashcards, we will do mandala, and then we will do math dot cards also. This thing we will do, and we do some linking memory, and then we will wind up with that. And these days, she also wants to show me the flashcards. So once I am done with showing, she will do it, and when she is showing, no, she will keep telling stories and all. So I'll just keep listening to those stories, and sometimes she will try to do some math or and sometimes I just let her freely take whatever you want and play. And then we go for nap. She'll nap, and then evening she'll wake up and she will go down for playing. She will spend minimum 1 to 1.5 hours playing outside. So that's all. After that, she will have dinner and they will sleep. And during the nap time and sleeping time, while laying on the bed, we used to play telepathy and blending games. Recently, since we have started the phonological awareness, we have started with the blending game, which is like because I started with the sounds blending, but she's too young to to say it, so she is not able to say that. So I am just giving her some, especially with respect to blending, I'm giving her the small exercise of blending words. So that's what we do in our homeschooling. So if you just have to calculate the time that we spend exactly in homeschool, it will be maximum to 1 hour to 1.5 hours splitted across. Maximum 1.5 hours to 2 hours maximum splitted across. So recently only I have got some Montessori materials, which is number beads for math and number rods for math. Apart from that, I did not buy any of the other Montessori material. Even with beads, I feel that she's not giving much attention to it. So I thought of waiting for some more time, and I will introduce it again. With respect to the, yeah, and I have invested in sandpaper letters. It was from Flipkart. I'm just starting with some lowercase letters, with 5 lowercase letters, and we are extending it into other play activities. And yeah, so yeah, with respect to the movable alphabets and the large number printables, I just made it as a DIY. I will be soon posting about the DIY, which you can actually do without any investment. I'll be posting it in my Instagram page, maybe like homeschooling, so you guys can check that out. So I hope this video would have given you a brief idea about what we do in our homeschooling. So in the next video, I'll try to cover each specific topic. Until then, bye bye. Please subscribe to my channel.